Researchers, I'd like to have your eyes and attention for this mid-workshop interruption. Thank you. As I continue to confer with you and see the notes you're taking, I want to remind us about something that we've learned before that I think will help us as we write our research reports. And that is what we know about adjectives. You know, we studied adjectives when we were writing our personal narratives and even our realistic fiction. And those helped us make a picture in our readers' minds. We used adjectives when we were writing our opinion reviews. And that really helped us there too, because what was the difference between writing "it was awesome" and "the food was salty enough and juicy and tasted fresh like it came from the garden"? Okay, so we learned to use descriptors, and we started a chart. Adjectives tell us more about a noun. We know that because we've talked about it before. We talk about it in our reading, and can describe a person, place, or thing. And here's the chart that we had from before. We talked about the older sister and what it tells us is age. The bright sun, and it tells us what the sun looks like. Many students, that tells us the number. And I also am noticing in my notes, that I could probably use some of those adjectives. I made a note that my earthworms, in the daytime they eat roots, and in the nighttime they eat leaves. Now that starts to sound like bugs in the soil that eat the roots of living plants, or caterpillars that eat the leaves of live plants. And when I go back to my book, it said that they usually stay under the soil in the daytime and feed on the roots of dead plants. And then at night, when it's dark and damp, they crawl to the surface and search for dead leaves. I think that it's very important for the people who read my research report to know that these are dead roots and dead leaves. So I think that those adjectives are really going to help make my research report better. And I found some other places in my book where I think that the adjectives are helping. Under moving with earthworms, they have ring-shaped muscles inside each segment that make their body shrink or spread out, and other muscles, long muscles, run along their body and make them short or long. So I think the ring-shaped and the long are important. What I would like for you to do now is go back into your notes and your book and see if you can find some adjectives, and let's see how those adjectives help describe what you're writing about. Researchers, rewind. What are some of the nouns and adjectives that you found that you think would be important to put in your notes so you can have them in your reports? And what do you think they do? How will they help your readers, or how do they help you as a reader of that text? So, and I'll scribe for us. Who has one to share? Yes?
Mine is about unusual animal adaptations, and the one that was talking about having a third eye.
Ah, a third eye.
And that helped me because there was no picture, so it helped me visualize what this animal might look like.
How it looks. Okay. Somebody else. Yes.
Spider monkeys is the topic that I'm researching, and at first I had just written down like fingers for their appearance, and that they make noise. And then when I went back and looked, I found that they have long fingers, so that's giving me again that visual, and see what they look like. They're not short, stubby ones. And that they make a loud noise, not just any other noises, a whooping, so I'm actually giving two. They call it a whooping sound.
Okay. And so that's what it sounds like. Let's have another. Insert row below. Oh, it will it?
Yep.
Ah, thank you. Yay. Thanks. Okay, let's have another one. Because, you know, when we're trying to figure these things out, the more examples we have, the easier it's for us to figure out, like, why this is important.
I'm reading about the Statue of Liberty, and I learned that the sculptor made the face to look like his mother, and he thought that his mother was beautiful, so she had a beautiful face.
Okay, so it was a B. You. So it was a beautiful face. And it was his mother's beautiful face. Yeah, and again, that's what it looks like.
Stepping into teacher role for a second, this chart you're creating right here, is this something that your second graders also have in their notebook and they're adding to it, or is this a chart that you're just creating for us as a visual in our room?
This is a chart I'm creating for us as a visual in the room. And I decided to do it electronically, A, because it was faster, and B, because a lot of you have smart boards, and this might be how you would create this chart. So they can, we'll come back to that. Bring me back to that, though. All right, so what do you notice that in informational text, how have adjectives worked? How do researchers or authors of informational text use adjectives? And talk to your neighbor, why do you think that's important? I'll put my good ear this direction. Yeah.
Well, adjectives make things really clear. I mean, otherwise it'd be really confusing.
Clarity. And why do you, I know you're at much higher levels, but why would that be important, especially when we're doing informational text?
Well, because if you need to be clear, there's a very big difference between something that is toxic as opposed to something that is safe.
Yes. Okay. Uh-huh. Yeah. So why is this important for writers of informational text, especially adjectives?
Better communicate.
Visual?
We mentioned the sentence, the shrimp picked the dead skin off the fish. That's one thing, but if you took the adjective out and it's the shrimp picked the skin off the fish, it's a more gruesome image. Yeah.
And it's not real. It's not factual.
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay. Oh, researchers, I'm hearing such great conversations. Some of the researchers said that for informational text, adjectives are important because you have to have clarity. You have to be clear about what you're saying. If something is toxic or something is safe, we need to know that. That can't just be liquid that we're putting in. We need to know if that's toxic liquid or safe. There's a huge difference. It helps visualize, and when we're talking about facts, we had an example where what is it that eats a fish? The shrimp eat the dead skin off a fish. Well, if you take dead out, A, it's not true that the shrimp eat skin off the fish just in general, so the fact is no longer correct. It just gives us a completely wrong picture. So, writers and researchers, as you continue reading, taking notes, viewing videos, I invite you to pay attention to those adjectives and see how they can make your reports more precise and accurate.